Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy here in Miami, Florida. Buenos dias, mi amigo. How are you guys doing? It's a beautiful, cloudless day here in Miami. Really nice breeze outside. Clear blue skies. Couldn't be any more beautiful. It's a great day to be alive, guys. I gotta thank God for all His blessings. But anyway, guys, it's gonna be brief. Another brief episode today. Warming up, getting better day by day, improving on my health. Thank God, and I appreciate all your support and your prayers. Really, really do, guys. But anyway, today I'm gonna talk a little bit about what transpired last night with the Nganou and AJ fight, and some of the things that really boggle the mind. All these people that actually believed that Nganou had a shot to beat or knock out Anthony Joshua. First, let me backtrack a little bit. As you all saw yesterday, Anthony Joshua did what he was supposed to do and knocked out Francis Nganou, a guy with only one professional fight, no amateur experience. Yes, he did MMA, but that's a different sport, guys. For all you guys that, love MMA so much and were so hyped about, this fight as you were for the fight between Conor McGregor and Money Mayweather, having the delusional belief that McGregor was going to be able to beat Mayweather. I see you guys balloon deflate your last night and actually come to the realization that these are two different sports which require two different types of skill sets that require also years and years and years of practicing. All right. One thing is the MMA, which they involve two or three different types of fighting styles. You need the kicks, you need the wrestling, you need the grappling, you need the punching. You need to combine all those three. And I don't see, a good boxer beating a top-level UFC or MMA fighter either in that sport. They're two different sports. So the reason why these guys from the UFC or MMA world are incursioning into the sport of boxing is because of the payday, guys. That's it. It's the payday, all right? UFC, Dana White and his organization does not pay their fighters as much as a boxer, top-level elite fighter would make in a championship fight. I mean, look at Ryan Garcia, who is not, in my opinion, an elite fighter. Due to his following, he makes $5 million a fight. Which UFC MMA fighter makes that much money? You can hardly see it. So that's the reason why this migration from MMA to boxing, some of these guys want to land that big fight and where they can make a lot of money and look like fools doing so. Going back to the fight last night, I saw there was a poll on TV, and that poll, these were listeners and people that were tuning into the fight last night, and I believe the poll was who would win and by which way. Would it be a knockout? Would it be decision? And there was a high percentage of people that were voting. I think it was 53% that had voted that Nganou was going to knock out AJ. Oh my! Casuals rule the world, guys. And that's the reason why some of these sports, make so much money, is because of gullible people that do not know the sport. And I had this conversation in the past with many casuals out there. Oh, he's a big, strong guy. He can knock you out, blah, blah, blah. No, bro. Yeah, he can knock you out if your hands are down and you just stick your chin out. Yeah, he can knock you out. But boxing is a sport of skills, and you don't see this. Let me rephrase this: it's more skilled to become a fighter, a boxer, than an MMA fighter, and let me explain why. And I know those three different types of you know, fighting styles that you need in MMA. You need the kickboxing, you need to be good at kicking, you need to be good at grappling, you need to be good at the stand-up. The reason why I'm saying this, and the reason why I believe that a boxer is more skilled, is because a boxer, a very high-level elite fighter, hardly loses against anybody. On the other hand, if you see top-level MMA fighters, the so-called champions, they win one or two fights, they defend their title, and then they get beat. And then another guy comes along and beats them. And then another guy comes along and beats that other guy. You know, so it's not that dominance that you see from some of the fighters or boxers in the sport that have defended their title dozen times, you know, belong to the Hall of Fame, become champions in multiple weight divisions. These guys are super skilled at their craft. And it's hardly impossible to beat these guys, all right? We talk about the Terrence Crawfords, the Manny Pacquiaos, you know, back in the day, you know, some of the elite like the Sugar Ray Leonards and so on and so forth. MMA is a sport where you have to be crafty at three different types of styles or fighting styles, if you want to call it, but you're not excellent at all three. Some of these guys, I see them throwing punches and they're slapping punches. They don't know how to throw their punches correctly, and that is something that you can't. How can I put it? That is something that you can't fail to do when you're fighting a seasoned boxer, a boxer that is an elite fighter like AJ, Anthony Joshua. So last night, when the fight was over, and I actually posted on several social media sites and also on WhatsApp with my fight group, my chat, I said, this fight's ending inside of 3. And some of the guys said, yeah, well, it depends on what type of AJ shows up. I don't care what type of AJ shows up. This guy's getting knocked out. And it was so, you know, basic 1-2 from AJ, connected, and that was all she wrote. Listen, guys, you got to give props to Francis Nganou, who has never had, career in the sport of boxing, to do what he did with Tyson Fury. And like I told everybody, listen, Tyson Fury did not take this guy seriously, didn't train, and was probably partying the whole time. You could see his body. And the difference is that you could see last night, I don't know if you noticed, Tyson Fury was there alongside Joseph Parker for his fight against Zhang, and he looked trimmed. He looked in shape. You know, this guy looked like he's actually taking Usyk seriously. He didn't take Nganou seriously at all. This was a sideshow. It was just to make money, right? So he got. That's why you never underestimate an opponent. But as far as AJ looking the best he's ever looked, no, guys. I mean, he looked great against an amateur fighter. It's like, you know, if you're a seasoned boxer, even in the amateurs, you have, you know, a whole bunch of fights, and you fight somebody that has never stepped their inside a ring before, you're going to look great against that person. You're going to dominate them, you know, either with skill, with technique, you know, with power, whatever. And that's exactly what I was expecting. And I said it in this channel a few episodes ago. And if you want to go look, listen, I said, AJ's going to destroy Nganou. It's not even close. All right. Now moving forward, AJ He's got his work cut out for him. He lost twice against Usyk. That fight between Usyk and Fury is coming up. I'm favoring Fury. All right, in that one, and we're gonna talk about that in the future. And I don't like Fury that much. He is like a little overrated in my opinion. Usyk is too small. That's the reason why I'm choosing Fury. All right, I might be wrong, and this might be a 50-50 fight. But anyway, going back to the subject of MMA versus boxing, one of the things that I hear a lot by casuals out there and people that do not know the sport of boxing, they tell me, oh man, but this guy's, UFC and MMA is more dangerous than boxing, and it is so brutal. And yeah, you see a lot of blood because you get hit with knees, and you get hit with your elbows, and and they can put you out. But let me ask you one question. Let me ask you all one question, and all those UFC, MMA fans, and all those casuals around the world listening to this show, let me ask you one question, guys. How many MMA fighters have died since the birth of UFC? In the UFC, how many fighters have perished inside the octagon or outside the octagon once, the fight was over? They've been taken to the hospital, put in coma, and died. How many? I'm waiting for your answer. And the answer is 0. As far as I know, 0. I don't know if there's one in some shady tournament from some shady organization somewhere in a bar that died. I'm talking about the UFC, where the highest level, the most elite MMA fighters fight in. All right? That's what I'm talking about. How many MMA fighters have died in the sport? 0. 0 in the UFC. Now let me ask you that same question. How many boxers died in 2023? How many fighters died in 2023? How many boxers have died in the last 10 years? Do the research, guys. We're talking about dozens in the last 10 years. All right? Not only dead, but brain damage completely. Completely assisted type of living where these guys are, have sustained so much brain damage that they become like little children. People have died in the ring like Max Dadashev, all right? And that was not too long ago. This girl, 18-year-old fighter, first female fighter, died this year. I believe it was this year, earlier this year, in a match. I don't remember where it was at, but I actually saw the video. I feel really bad for her family. 18-year-old fighter. All right, so boxing is way more dangerous than MMA. In boxing, you get hit in the head 300 times a night. In MMA, you get hit once, they stop the fight. You get knocked down once, you look a little out, boop, they stop it. All right? So don't try to understand the different sports. If you're gonna be talking about, oh, MMA is better, MMA is harder, MMA is tougher. No, it is not. It is a hard sport. I understand there's a lot of following. I personally do not like it. It's boring for me. I hate to see, guys wrestling around for 5 minutes on the floor. That right there. I'm not a fan, guys. I'm not a fan of MMA. I do acknowledge there's a lot of skill sets required to become a great MMA fighter. I do acknowledge that. I wrestled a little bit in high school. I have friends that are, Olympic wrestlers back in Puerto Rico. I have my good friend, Cheo Betancourt, who was, I think it was 3-4-time Olympian, and I know a lot of guys that, wrestling is a hard-ass sport. I love wrestling, but this is different. And we're just comparing and talking about how people are so delusional that actually believe MMA fighter is going to have a shot against a seasoned or an elite boxer, all right? One more thing before I go. one more thing before I go. I heard a lot of people say, and I'm just clearing all this out, guys, because I hear these comments a lot. Well, you know, MMA fighters, they're fighting with little gloves, 4-ounce gloves, blah blah blah, and they hit harder. And false, guys, false. And I'm gonna prove it to you. All right, I'm gonna prove to anybody that wants, and I've shown this many times. All right, have you seen bare knuckle fighters? Have you seen their fights? All right, these guys are constantly breaking their hands. They're not wearing any gloves. Do this experiment, all right? Go to your local boxing gym, wear one of those, MMA gloves, one of the little gloves, I think they're 4 ounces, some shit like that, and pound the heavy bag for 3 minutes with all you got, all right? I want to see you do it. You know what's going to happen? You're going to break your hands. You're going to injure your hands. You're not going to hit that bag as hard as you can. You know why? Because your hands are going to feel it. You're going to injure your hands. A boxer has got the wraps, has got gloves, really padded gloves with gel and all kinds of fucking technology nowadays, guys. All kinds of technology. And you can hit a bag heavier and harder with boxing gloves than with MMA gloves. You can hit your opponent a lot harder with boxing gloves than with the little 4-ounce MMA gloves. Why? Because try hitting, a wall. Try hitting a wall with MMA gloves as hard as you can. What's going to happen? You're going to break your hand. Try hitting a wall with 16-ounce gloves. There's a big chance you can injure your hand, but this is a big possibility it's going to be more protected. It's more protected. So, again, MMA is a different sport. There's no place in boxing, in real boxing, for MMA fighters to compete in. Yes, if you want to make this boxing a sport of your choice and you want to leave MMA because of the money, start from the bottom, guys, or you're going to look like a fool. You're going to look just like Nganou did last night, and exactly what I was expecting. Again, AJ was not great. AJ, the greatest. No, he's not. He is not the greatest. He did what he was supposed to do against an amateur fighter. All right? Something that I was expecting. I called it last night. He's not going to last 3 rounds. I told the guys. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think. MMA versus UFC, which is more dangerous. MMA versus boxing, which is more dangerous. MMA versus boxers, in the sport of boxing, which is more skilled. Do you guys think that this type of contest should continue? Top MMA fighter versus a top elite boxer. I mean, it does sell, but is it really worth watching? It's too much of disparity, of skill disparity, in my opinion. Well, anyway, guys, this is Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy, saying hasta la vista. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. God bless you all, and peace.